those happy bubbles. Hello and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour or so, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite time of year. It's Girl Scout cookie time, and we're going to find out a lot more about the Girl Scout program in a few moments. But before we begin, we are not live this evening, so you cannot call us, but you can always send me an email. I'm at talk@bcattv.org. And as always, don't want to forget my wonderful crew who have given up their time to come hang out at BCAT. Chris Flaherty, who is a staff member here, making sure that everything is set up. And Robert Paris gave him a hand today. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Robert. And Stephanie Floridas, who's been away for a little while, but we're so glad she could go back today. Thank you, Stephanie, for coming and helping us out. And actually, I don't need to thank Paul for staying home for Daddy Date Night because the kids are actually here helping out behind the scenes. So now, housekeeping aside, I would like to introduce my wonderful guest, whom I've met a couple of times, but now we're really going to
get a whole hour together.
Intense.
I love it.
So Caitriona Taylor, who is the recently appointed CEO of Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Linda, for having me
so
and the
much
entire crew. And shout out to my colleague Stacy, who's also here today helping.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy, and the entire GSEMA team that helped make this possible.
And you don't get winter vacation.
No, we don't. We're actually, I think, hosting some activities this winter vacation for girls at our camps.
Absolutely. And I think I have an online training later on this week to find out about the Bronze Award. Ooh, exciting. Okay. We're probably talking foreign language to a lot of these people. So as we begin, what I like to do with all my guests, so my audience is a little more familiar, could you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, how you came to the Boston area, and what made you get involved in the Girl Scout program?
Sure. And we only have an hour. Okay. So
the abridged version.
The abridged. So I actually am from Ireland. I moved here with my family when I was 9 to Connecticut and grew up.
And I don't detect an accent.
No, I have one when I do go home. If you ever catch me with some Irish people, I do get it. But I then came to Boston University for college.
Okay.
And since then I've stayed. So my stops have been at BU for school. I've worked at MIT, worked at BC twice in higher education, where I also went back went back to school for my master's. And what I really was working on there, I ran the recreation department, and so I saw it as helping develop the person outside of the classroom.
Exactly.
They're right there taking classes.
Gee, that's
Do you
a
love
stretch.
it? And then in the recreation complex, whether it be our outdoor program, our aquatics program, our club program.
Was this all for like college age kids, or did it reach out into like other ages?
Great question, Linda. It actually was college, but also we had. I personally have taught swim lessons to 6 months to 80 years old.
Wow.
Yes, and also oversee programming that we would have for youth. Also our community members, so we did a lot in the Brighton-Allston neighborhood for community members. And so as you can tell, there's a lot of parallels. I like to help, I say my dharma, my life purpose, to help people find happiness through health and wellness, and that takes many different forms. And at Girl Scouts, I am blessed to be part of an organization that, again, is providing supplemental education for girls, K through 12, and they're learning all about themselves outside of the classroom.
And I was just talking to somebody recently where the scouting program, I think, is more important now than it was when I was a kid, because schools do an amazing job, but there's so much that they have to accomplish and so much that they have to do that some of the, I don't want to say extracurriculars, but like when I was growing up, we had home ec, we had shop, we had, instrumental music, and those are always the first programs to get cut from schools. So Girl Scouts kind of picks up and gives girls the tools necessary in a smaller environment where they get more individualized attention.
You should come work for recruitment for us. You definitely were able to kind of explain what we do. And our mission is to help build girls of courage, confidence, and character that make the world a better place.
I love
That's what
courage. I love
right?
it. Can't say it now, but
courage, confidence, and character. And so what we have the Girl Scout Research Institute, and
what's that?
That's a national part of the National Girl Scouts. They have a research institute, and we do a lot of pre and post surveying and assessment of girls in our programs, and they also link that up to what's happening in society and what gaps might exist for girls. And so our badges are a way for girls to get education out that they're not getting at school or supplement what they're getting at school.
Yeah, I noticed, like, was it 42 or 47 new badges or something this past couple of years?
Yep. And not only that, so those badges were in STEM and outdoors, our 4 pillars, or the outdoors, STEM, life skills, and entrepreneurship. But last year, the badges were received or earned about 25% across all 4 pillars. So the additional new badges in STEM and outdoors is to make sure that our programming covers all those 4 pillars.
Well-rounded, yeah.
I kind of see it as girls being able to explore their own identity, and those badges are a way for them to say, do I want to do STEM? Do I want to do outdoors? And this one scared me a little, but I was able to do it. Or this one I really loved, and they get to put it right on their uniform, and it's a way for them to explore who they are and who they might want to be.
Or where they don't want to be.
Very good point.
That's just, just as important. It's like, I realized that in my college years, it's like, oh, I really want to do this. And then by the end of college, it's like, well, no, I really don't. So now what?
Yes.
So it's a discovery, which is really cool.
And it's not just the skill or the area that they're learning, it's the way that they're learning. It's in an all-girl, girl-led, girl-centric space. So there's a lot to be said for trying something new that maybe you didn't have the confidence in, but you're in this very supportive space.
Exactly.
And that you're going to try it, and you might even be really good at it, and you never would have known because you were scared right away. So it's what they're learning, but it's the way that they're learning it too is pretty special.
And also, bringing up the girl-led, girl-centric environment, I think, is also important. Yes, I did go to an all-women's college. However, that aside, it's like girls will face gender discrimination everywhere. It starts as early as kindergarten, the whole math phobia thing. So by the time, Girl Scouts provides them a safe environment, like you said, where they don't have to worry. They get to focus on them. So then they get the confidence when they do go out to the world that they can conquer that gender stereotypes.
Yeah, I think if you look at STEM and our initiative around nationally, we have a vision to add 2.5 million girls to the STEM pipeline by 2025. And that's based on, if you look, and this is the Girl Scout Research Institute, they've helped us identify that even though girls are graduating at same rates or higher with masters, and they're 50% in the workforce, if you look at STEM careers, they're only about 26%.
Yeah.
And the fall off is pretty early on where girls are, for whatever reason, are not pursuing STEM. So having coding for good or cybersecurity or learning about password protection, learning about that at a young age and learning those basic skills in that all-girls space. Our dream is that girls feel like they can thrive in STEM, and we know STEM needs a female perspective as we're solving the complex problems of our times, and we want to be able to set girls up for success so they'll be in those spaces ready to contribute and
we want to raise that
feeling good.
26% up to, 56%. Why not?
Yes. Or 50, equal.
Or 50, yeah.
Yes.
So, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there's like, it's on the internet, it's got to be true, but there was a quote for her saying, somebody asked her, how many women are too many women, when will you be happy when there's women represented on the court? And she's like, well, there's 9 of them. So like, yes. Okay, anyway, total tangent.
Yes.
As everyone saw from our introduction, the theme for tonight, we want to talk about cookies.
Cookies.
Because
who doesn't want to talk about cookies?
Who doesn't want to eat cookies? And for the record, Thin Mints do not make you thin. So let's just drop it right there. So
they do taste delicious.
They do taste. Oh, they're awesome when they're frozen. They're awesome when they're not frozen.
A little ice cream. You can put them in everywhere. They're great.
A friend of mine used to be a bartender, and he's like telling me all the recipes that you can do with Thin Mint cookies, and just crush them up, throw them in with some vanilla ice cream, and then if you want to make an adult beverage. So, okay.
We're not here to promote that.
We are not here to promote that. We are promote cookies. And I think this year, I am not the townwide cookie coordinator, but I know that my troop this year is doing phenomenally well. And the fun facts that you sent me, you probably don't remember all of these statistics off the top of your head.
I think I remember this, the number of cookies sold. How many is it?
22,000 packages. Woo! And Burlington,
Last year.
Yeah,
last
year.
We're hoping to break it this year.
Well, I know my troop is, I think we sold about 1,300 packages, 1,300 to 1,500 last year. And we are this close to 2,000.
Wow.
I think we can do it. We're like at 1983.
So what's your secret?
We've had a bazillion cookie booths this year. It's just get out there and go. And I've been pushing my girls because we are doing a field trip later this year.
This is what I think a lot of people don't know about our cookie program. The great things.
Exactly.
Let's hear about it. Where are they going to go?
We're doing something new to the Girl Scouts in this town, but a lot of families go to a place in Troy, New Hampshire called the Inn at East Hill Farm. And my girls love animals. Ever since they were daisies, they wanted to do things for animals. We've gone to the local animal shelter to read to the animals. We've done drives. We've made doggy and kitty toys to donate. We've done everything. Last year we did PSAs to save the turtles. My girls love animals in any way, shape, or form. So East Hill Farm is actually a family vacation resort, but it's also a working farm. So the girls, when they get up in the morning, they can go over to the hen house, gather the eggs. If they want eggs for breakfast, they bring those eggs that they find and bring them right over to the kitchen, and they will be prepared for them. They can milk a cow, they can milk a goat, they can groom horses, they could ride horses. There are nature trails, arts and crafts, everything. There's even a pool. So so the girls are like, sign me up, man, this is gonna be great. So to take the pressure off the families for giving their daughters 2 nights, 3 days, 6 home cooked meals does come at a price. So we're trying to reduce the cost. So I'm like, get out and sell. The more you sell, the less your family has to pay.
Well, I think that you kind of explained it, what the cookie program is. It is actually the largest girl-led entrepreneurial program in the world. In the world or in the country? In the world.
Wow.
So in Eastern Mass, in our council, it was 2.3 million boxes were sold last year. And so all the proceeds stay local, and the girls also get proceeds. And what I've really enjoyed is going around, and I don't think many people do this when they go to a cookie booth. You should. You should ask,
what do we do?
What are they doing?
That's
because it is a way for girls actually to decide, and what a great way for a girl to learn she can actually do something to make money that will fund something that she wants to do. She's learning budgeting skills, money management skills, learning entrepreneurial skills, decision making. Were you at our Cookie Fest that we did?
We could not we missed registration. It was all filled this year, but we went last year. And I want to do a little special shout out. One of our junior Girl Scout leaders, Wendy Geist, organized a town-wide Cookie Fest for junior Girl Scouts.
I did not know this.
And she asked all the different troop leaders to come up with an activity based on those 5, decision-making, money management, customer service. So I came up with a little board game where they had to figure out decision-making and money saving.
Yes.
So it was a little board game. We had Cookie Jeopardy. We had the girls make posters for goal setting. And then somebody actually created this doorway in a frame, and the girls practiced door-to-door sales.
Wow.
So it was, and we had the cadets came and set up a mock cookie booth with 15 mistakes.
And they had to spot them.
And they had to spot all 15 mistakes.
So where else is a girl going to
So,
learn these skills?
exactly.
There's no other program out there where a girl is actually learning those 5 skills. They're getting to practice, and they then get to what other opportunity does a girl have at that age to make money and then to spend how they want to spend it. So I would encourage all your viewers, when they're out there looking at the cookie booths, ask them what have they learned, and how are they going to be selling their proceeds? What are they going to be doing? I have heard trips. I've heard troops actually save for a number of years and go abroad. They're spending trips to go to London or go abroad.
We might do that.
It's fun. And then also take action projects.
Oh, those are amazing.
And so that's another way. If I was talking to a troop in Roxbury and they're looking to do one of those little free libraries that you put in a park, so there'd be books in their park, and that would be a way to help fund the books and some of the stuff that they're doing. So
okay, let's back up a second and pause. Can you tell us more about what a take action project is and how it's different than a service project?
Thank you, Linda, for bringing up that point, because I use that language so frequently, take action, that you're right, your viewers might not know. So if you look at a very easy example, community service might be you'd go to a park and there would be trash all over the park, and so community service is picking up the trash and putting it in the bin. A take action project is saying, why is there all this trash in the park? Do we not have recycle bins? Do we not have signs? Do we not have ways for people to know that they should be putting the trash away? Do we not have a system of trash collection? And so a take action is really analyzing a problem and having a solution to it. So you're not just there for one day, you're really having a lasting impact.
Exactly. So it has to be educational. So you have to educate the community on an issue. It has to advocate. So it has to kind of support something like a cleaner environment. And then the part that always even tricks Girl Scouts up is the sustainability aspect of it. How do you make it last more than just one day? Oh, we'll do a food drive. Come and bring, non-perishable food items. We'll donate them to the food pantry. And then what? And that's the hard part. And I think it teaches girls the follow-through step as well.
It does, and I mean, that's how you solve problems in our world.
Exactly.
And they're feeling empowered, they're learning how to do it. I'm really amazed at what was one troop, I'm forgetting the town, but one of their projects where they went to, it was online, I could see it, I could see the video, and they were presenting at their town hall because they wanted a doggy park. And they're all there as a troop, and the skills they're learning, how to represent themselves at a community and to actually be able to talk to those council representatives and propose their actual plan. This is the type of leadership that we want to set girls up for, because this is how they can change the world the rest of their lives. Whether it's their community, it's their families, it's their schools, they're developing their voice, they're learning their voice. And it's in all that a girl-led environment again. It's in that safe space. And I think, have you done some take action projects?
We actually, through the help of BCAT last year, our girls did one of the leadership journeys, and they wanted to save the sea turtles. And again, when you're 10 years old, 11 years old, you want to change the world. But sometimes that's hard because you have to convince others. So initially their plan was they wanted to eliminate single-use plastic straws all over Burlington. And I said, okay, you don't want to set them up for failure, but that's a pretty big chunk to bite off. So I said, let's back it up a little bit. Just let's try reducing the use of single-use plastics. And they wanted to save the turtles. So they did a bunch of research saying, okay, why do we want to save the turtles? Why are the turtles endangered? What does plastic have to do with this? And how much plastic is consumed on a daily basis worldwide. And they did all of this research, and so they wanted to advocate. We talked about educating and advocating, so they wanted to educate the community on the dangers of single-use plastics. They wanted to advocate for the sea turtles, which are now endangered. The sustainability, how can we do that? We have this amazing resource called BCAT in town. And the staff welcomed us to come here to create PSAs. So the girls had a chance to not only continue the Take Action project, they also learned about television production. So they took turns. We did 3 PSAs, and 2 girls decided to team up. So 4 girls had the opportunity to be in front of the camera and read the teleprompter. One of the girls, they rotated. Somebody was on camera, somebody was on teleprompter, somebody did audio levels, somebody directed. And each time we shifted around. So they learned, teamwork, because you need a team. They learned how they could play a role, and they had to do their job correctly. They learned video production. They got to be in front of the camera, so there's nothing harder than public speaking when there's no public there. And they created 3 PSAs, chose the music to go behind it, chose the photos, and they're continuing to air on BCAT. Wow. So it's sustainable. It's educating the community.
And they learn new skills.
And they learn new skills.
And now I'm reminded of all 3 female Secretary of States were Girl Scouts. And so when you think about the skills that girls are learning, just what you talked about, the education, the advocacy, and the sustainability, and they're learning it at an age that can help literally with the trajectory of their life and help them, later on in life, because they're able to take those skills and build upon them.
Right.
That's such. I'm going to take one of those stories of this. I
Why
love this PSAs.
So, we already talked about STEM. Ooh, badges. There's not. 1913, was that in 1913?
Yes, and before we get to
Okay.
those, can I add a little bit more about the cookie
Absolutely.
program?
Let's talk about cookies.
We have National Cookie Weekends coming up.
Cookie Weekend. Okay, what is that? I don't remember
February
that.
29th through March 1st.
Okay.
And it is a national awareness of it's really a national awareness of let's go out and support these girls because of all of the things that they can do.
Are all cookie seasons nationwide all in this winter time slot?
They're all different. So we're not the first council to start, but we are. So there's actually, your viewers might not know, but there are 110 councils nationally.
Wow,
and
I didn't even know that.
Yes, and 1 Girl Scout overseas. And so we are the 10th largest council with 30,000 girls and 15,500 volunteers. Yes. And so we are the 10th largest, and each 110 councils, they're all individual nonprofits, and they decide when they have their cookie sales.
Oh, okay. And they also decide which baker, because I know we've had a lot of questions at booths. What happened to the Do-si-dos? Don't they have them anymore?
Yep, there's 2 bakers that are selected by GSUSA, and each council has their own kind of baker that they work with. And so the national weekend is really, nationally, they're really making a push because most of the councils will be selling during this weekend, and it's an awareness.
Okay.
And I know our council will be looking at that weekend. I think I'm going to select some booths to go around to and say hi to, and just tell them that we really appreciate what they're doing. But
excellent.
It's coming up, National Cookie.
Okay. There's also something coming up related to cookies that I would like to touch upon is Cookies for a Cause.
Yes, Cookies for a Cause.
Which is slowly getting later in the year, because I remember the first time I attended, it was in March, and it was snowing. And the event was outdoors.
Well, I've never been to Cookies for a Cause. You want me to tell a little? I'm really excited for it because I think we are in March again
It's
this
in
year.
May this year.
May this
because
year.
I'm going to be at the farm. I can't go.
No.
I'm so bummed.
But it's an amazing event where we're actually sending cookies overseas, and troops can help with extra cookies that they have, and we're actually sending them overseas to our servicemen and women that I know really enjoy. But you've been there. What's it like the weekend?
It is amazing. Okay, I'm really, really disappointed that I can't go this year, because when it was in March, 1 year it snowed, another year it was 8 below zero. So moving it later in the year I am very grateful for. Just bummed that I can't go. But it's a great way for the girls to see the impact that the cookies make, because it's a huge parking lot, and there's a line where girls who want to donate cookies, you don't have to donate cookies in order to attend, but cookies go and they get loaded by the military troops onto flatbeds or any, the big storage units to be shipped. Then there's another area in the parking lot where there's music and there are cookies and hot cocoa, although this year in May they probably won't have hot cocoa. But there are tables set up so the girls can write thank you notes to the active military personnel to accompany the cookies, saying, "Hey, we're thinking about you. We're sorry you
So
missed home, but
special.
here's a little piece of home for you." So the girls get to interact with other Girl Scouts of all levels from all around the council. They get to interact with military personnel. The military personnel get to interact with the girls and say, "Hey, thank you for the work that you're doing because you bring a little bit of home to us when we're away." Then there are a couple of presentations. My daughter, I think her favorite part is they raffle off Build-A-Bears that are Girl Scout related.
Fun. Stacy's nodding her
So,
head. Oh, this is
yeah,
great.
that's always the coveted.
Yes.
Do they call my name? Do they call my name? And the past few years, I don't remember when it was 8 below zero because I dropped off my cookies and ran.
It's too cold.
It was way too. There were some girls out there that were 8 layers. They looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and they held out. They were there.
Well, we need
showing.
them.
It was
It's amazing.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, girls, you may be 8, but you're a lot stronger than I am. I'm going home.
Yeah.
But they recognize, or you will probably be recognizing the top cookie seller. I think last year, one girl
It's over
sold
5,000 boxes, I want to say.
I want to say, was it like 5? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do you do that without having like some celebrity at the Oscars be your dad?
Yeah.
But
'Cause that happens too, doesn't it?
so recognize the top sellers, recognize just how much impact the local cookie sale has made. And actually, we kind of adopted that top seller. So now here in Burlington, at the end of the school year, we have a little gathering of all of our leaders to recognize the outstanding leaders. And we've decided to come up with an award called the Top Crumb. So the top selling Girl Scout troop gets a little token of appreciation.
Is this new this year, or you did last year?
This will be our third year doing it.
Wow. And
So-
you have, I think, about 350 Girl Scouts and volunteers in Burlington.
About that.
It's a
I know, I think
strong
we have
community.
like 20, 22 troops.
Wow.
But yeah, it's last year, the Top Crumb Award in Burlington, I found very appropriate because that particular troop sold 1912 boxes. Wow. 1,912 boxes. And I'm like, that's the year
That's
Girl
the
Scouts
year.
was established.
Yep.
So it's perfect.
Yes.
So just coincidental, but I still think it was pretty neat.
That goes right into the badges we were talking about earlier from 1913.
Yes.
So from 1913, we've
Are we
had
done with cookies?
No. We've
Okay,
had STEM
okay,
badges
okay.
from 1912 is when Girl Scouts
Was started.
and since 1913 we've had badges, and I think you've got the list there of the types of badges
Yes,
that we had.
electrician, emergency medicine,
Yep.
and naturalist.
Can you believe that
In 1913, electrician.
for a female?
Exactly.
Yes. So
Wow, and emergency medicine too.
And so since our beginnings, we've always, and that's over 100 years ago, what's that, 107, we're really looking for helping girls be empowered in areas that they might not necessarily have access to. I don't know in 1913 if they were teaching girls to be electricians in schools. I imagine
doubt it.
they probably were not.
Got
Don't
to be
quote
a
me.
nursery teacher. That was it. And once you got married, you had to quit your job.
So we, respect everyone's choice in life on how they want to live, but we want to make sure that girls have the best access to areas that they might not necessarily have. And so those badges, have you ever been to our Girl Scout museum?
I have.
How cool is that museum?
It is really cool, except for I'm like looking at, that brownie uniform. That looks exactly like the brownie uniform I wore.
They're
Okay,
tiny.
I'm feeling
They're like,
old.
they're so small. So
They're little, but it's like from the 1970s. I'm like, yeah, I've been in a museum. Great.
Well, so our museum is in Waltham. It's not open every day, but you can check online, and I know you can actually reach out and reserve some of the things that we have at the museum for your troop meeting. So I was actually at a brownie meeting, and from the museum, I brought the different brownie uniforms that they could try on
fun.
from way back. And they also they had brownie traditions. And so the museum is great. You can go visit it, and it will show you the badges, how they've evolved over the years. So we've got a lot of original
cool.
badges, and you can see how they've evolved. But you can then also rent or check out the uniforms, and we have
kind
a
of
lot
like a library, borrow the uniform.
Yes, and a lot of girls do dress up because they're feeling like they're costumes, and they can actually see the different years.
And it actually, you can do it, you can rent and borrow that stuff even if you're not going to a Girl Scout meeting. You still have to be, well, I think you have to be a Girl Scout because in 4th grade, so last year, my daughter, her class was doing, they were studying geography, the Northeast, the Southwest, and when they were doing the Southeast region, they had to do a presentation on a famous person from the Southeast. And my daughter chose Juliette Gordon-Low. So she made a big poster, she had to research, and I said, you need to dress up. So I talked to the museum, I emailed or called or something, and I was able, for my daughter, to borrow a uniform that was roughly the same era as Juliette Low. Wow. So she actually got to dress up in a vintage Scout uniform, which was pretty cool.
It is cool, and for all our viewers, Juliette Gordon-Low, she founded Girl Scouts.
Yes.
And to be able to dress up and even think about that era and what she was striving for, her vision, and what holds through today, that's really cool that she picked her.
I actually found out, through my daughter's research, that Juliette Low was deaf too.
I did not know that.
I'm like, wow. So she lost her hearing.
Oh, 1 ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Yes. So the Girl Scout Museum, all your viewers should check it out. It's a great place to kind of get that historical knowledge, and it's right on our Waltham property. So we actually have 6 camps throughout eastern Massachusetts.
Okay.
6 camps. So we have a lot of outdoor programming.
Not to put pressure on you, but can we name them?
Ooh. Wabasso, Runnels, Camp Rice Moody, Maud Eaton,
Cedar Hill.
Oh, actually, I have more than 6. Wind in the Pines and Camp Favorite.
I think that's it.
I said Runnels, yeah.
Yep, Runnels was the second one.
So from
Runnels
New
is in
Hampshire all the way down to the Cape.
And on the Cape. And actually, I think there were Burlington Girl Scouts last year who were on the Cape when the tornado hit. And they had to evacuate.
Yes.
And I was totally amazed and impressed with how smoothly that whole evacuation went. And they went over to, is it Wind in the Pines that's in Plymouth? So they brought everybody over, and then, it's like, hey, they're doing a good job keeping your kids safe.
Yep.
Yes, you lose out on a couple of days at camp. However, you still have a daughter to go home
and that
to you.
tornado touched down pretty close
It
to
was
the camp.
Yeah.
So shout out to the outdoor and facilities team. They did a really good job working through that emergency and making sure everyone was safe and taken care of. But yeah.
Do you know if there was any property damage to the...
Not major. I think the whole area had some trees down.
Tornadoes sometimes are like really focused, where like across the street it could be unharmed, and then on this side of the street there's like nothing left.
Yeah, but we've got robust emergency procedures to be able to take care of people when something like that happens. But yeah, I'm just going on tangents.
I'm the queen of tangents. That's why I always write everything down. So let's talk a little bit more about the camps.
Sure.
So you don't have to go and camp out overnight to utilize the camp.
There's so many options with
so
the
many
camp.
options.
So many
some of those
options with the camp. So one thing that I find is service units and troops, they'll do an encampment.
Okay.
And so that's a way for the troop or the service unit, they'll actually go to one of our properties and they'll camp out overnight. And that can happen throughout the year, weather permitting. Weather permitting.
Well, a lot of properties have cabins.
We have cabins.
So that kind of helps.
That helps.
More, hardcore campers might consider it glamping, but you know.
And we also have camps or tents that are on platforms.
Yeah.
And we also offer trainings for troop leaders that maybe they haven't had the experience of camping, so we'll do an overnight with them, and they can take
because you
trips.
really want to know what you're doing when you're taking 10 8-year-olds
You do.
out for a weekend.
We highly recommend you practice or know what you're doing.
Practice in the backyard.
And so we have encampments.
Okay.
Then we have, during the summer, a really robust summer program. So we have overnight and residential camps.
Okay.
So week-long programs, or overnight is
camps.
residential. Thank you. I'm just so excited about our
I
residential
know.
camps.
That is so awesome.
And we have day camps also.
Okay.
And what I am so impressed by our outdoor and camping team, they are so creative, and they actually get the girls' input at the end of the week.
Oh, they do? Okay.
To see what sort of camp experience is.
Okay.
And so, yes, you might be going to a camp with a couple hundred girls, but you each might have a different experiential experience. So I know one of the camps I went to, it was stay up late camp, and so every night they stayed up an hour later.
Okay. Was this one of the residential, the overnight camps?
Yes, overnight camps, and other girls might be having a different experiential camp. Like I know our Harry Potter experience is
Harry
very
Potter's always
fun.
big.
But the stay up later, it was so cool because every night they would stay up an hour later. And where else would you be able to stay up
Probably
the
not
whole
at
entire
home.
night with your girls? And so they went back tired to their families,
Okay.
which is good. So what I really appreciate about the camp and the outdoor staff, they'll actually get the input of the girls at the end of the week, and that will determine our future programming.
Oh, okay. Like theme-wise?
Theme-wise,
okay.
theme-wise. What sort of themes would you like to have for the week?
Now, I don't know if you could answer this or not, but
tricky
speaking
one.
of, at the camps, my daughter went for a couple of years, and all the counselors and all the staff have like code names. So I know like the camp director, her name was Lucky, and my daughter had, I don't know, Shamrock. So why the code names?
The camp names?
Yeah.
So mine is CT. I have a camp name. It is CT. I think it's a part of having that shared experience where you get to go, and it's part of identity again. I mean, where else does a girl get to go and just disconnect from their phone, their TV, who the world thinks that they should be, and being able to call yourself whatever camp name that you want for the week is another way to claim, who you are, and what you want to be.
I choose my name.
Yes, and so it's really fun. All of our staff have camp names, and it's a great way just to be the person that you want to be and have that experience that you want. What was your daughter's camp name? Do you remember?
I don't know if she had one. I think it was just the counselors that did.
Oh, she didn't take one for herself.
I don't think
I hear a lot of campers will tell me, they'll come up and tell me what their camp name is. But you don't have to either.
Or maybe she didn't tell me because she didn't want me to know. I don't know. So, okay, next on my little cheat sheet is talking about the Gold Award. And I think I really want to make it a point to talk about that because, I know that they are two totally separate organizations, but it seems like everybody knows what an Eagle Project is and an Eagle Scout, but nobody really knows unless they've experienced it firsthand what a Gold Award is in Girl Scouts.
Yep. So I would say
Do you want the
bronze.
notes?
No, I know this one. I know our Gold Award. So I would say our Bronze and Silver Award is more similar to the Eagle Scout, and the Gold Award is actually a more prestigious award due to the amount of time and what you're actually doing with the project.
I've heard that from a lot of Boy Scout leaders. They're like, oh my gosh, Gold Award puts Boy Scouts to shame.
Well,
So,
it's
intense.
It is intense. So it's a take action project in its core, and basically it's a girl identifying a problem in our community where she wants to take action, remedy it, find a sustainable solution. But it's an individual project, so she's undertaking it herself, and it's about 80 hours of work over about a year. And this is why it is so prestigious, because where else is a girl literally picking any problem in her community and she's coming up with a way to solve it? Some projects that come to mind, Dance Out Dementia. We had one Girl Scout who had, she had witnessed or she knew about dementia and she did some research, and she's like, how can I help seniors lessen the rates of getting dementia, or how can we lessen the probability? And she found that movement was important, in actually dancing specifically, learning dancing.
Oh, wow.
So she did research, and then she had a dancing background, so she actually set up a dancing program for seniors in her town.
Oh, cool.
And they go around and do performances, and so it's a way to find a problem, a solution, and she went beyond that. She also brought dementia awareness in her town, and was able to go to the mayor and get some awareness around that, and have there was a task force or a committee that was looking at seniors and dementia, and she was able to participate in that. And I think she actually even went on to do something at state level with some of the laws of the state level. We have Too Cool to Jewel. That was a girl that was looking at juuling, which was vaping, about 2 years ago, and her project was developing a kind of peer network so they could talk about what the dangers of vaping. And
2 years ago, we didn't know.
We didn't know. So she was kind of ahead of the curve. So these projects are so impactful in their communities, but they're also the skills the girls are developing and learning are just transformational, because they're literally saying, there's a problem I want to fix, and this is how I'm going to fix it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm looking over here. It says more than 1 million Girl Scouts have earned the Gold Award nationally.
They have, yes. Wow. Yeah, it's not all girls will go through and do the Gold Award, because it does take a lot of work.
Do you have like statistics? I'm just curious.
With the 1 million that have done it, and we also have at our council we'll have Gold Award mentors, and so we do have a process by which someone can be mentored as they're going through the Gold Award and assessing what they want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that I love my job, and as I learned more about what we're doing, I mean, you think about how you're setting a girl up for success, even in college, to be able to say, arrive in college or whatever post high school, what they would like to do. They're already learning these skills about being independent, problem solving, communicating, teamwork, all these skills that they're learning to be able to affect a change.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
cool.
It's
and
really
I'm also
cool.
noticing on here, it says, being a Gold Award recipient.
Yes, you can enter the military one rank higher.
College admission process looks great on a resume.
Yep.
You enter the military 1 rank higher, which is impressive. So there's a June celebration at the Edward Kennedy Institute.
There is.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. So what a great...
I'm not at Gold Award yet. We're just about to start
You
our
said
bronze.
bronze, right?
We're about to start our bronze award.
Okay, I want to hear about bronze. So the Gold Award, we do take an opportunity. I think we had about 94 girls throughout the state last year, and about 76 within our council. Around estimate.
That's still a lot.
It is a lot. And so it's a celebration. So when a girl receives her Gold Award, a lot of times their town or their troop will be doing a celebration, but we do an annual celebration, and it's a way to bring all the girls together, and we'll actually have the projects so you can sit and learn about the projects, and then we
is
do
it like a formal presentation of each project,
No,
or is it just like a job fair type thing?
It's kind of like a fair where they have all their stations set up, and you can learn about their projects, and then we'll go through and we'll recognize them and do an award ceremony. Wow. Yes, it's a great way to say, great job. Look at the work that you've done. And when I am out talking to parents, I think advocacy, like, I don't know if you're seeing it with your daughter, like they just want to change the world, and it's
not my daughter.
Well,
I love her dearly, but I'm still trying to. But there are some of her peers that are like,
how do we?
Even in kindergarten, one of her troop mates or one of the other girls in her troop witnessed some bullying at school, and said, that's not very scout-like. Kindergarten.
Yep.
One, there shouldn't be bullying in kindergarten. There shouldn't be bullying anyway.
Right.
But the fact that a kindergartner was able to stand up because of what she learned in Girl Scouts.
She was able to do it. And it's for having the Gold Award and all our awards, and just being able to, for parents is they're seeing their children want to take action, but they might not have like the system in place.
Right.
And I think that you've probably seen, you can go around and say, I'm with the Girl Scouts, can I do this? And organizations or towns are really receptive to that.
Burlington is very receptive of the scouting program.
Because they know, what we stand for, and so they want to be able to partner with you. We've got, and so that's another added benefit, I think, for parents when they're joining with us, that they can actually learn the tools or have the tools to help their children when they're trying to advocate for change in their world.
Right. And also, like we had talked about earlier, is a lot of parents sign their daughters up for Girl Scouts because they want that girl, their child, to be able to stand up for herself and to learn these skills and learn the confidence.
Yes.
So, I think a lot, it's kind of like, I don't know what the reverse of a catch-22 is, but it's like the program stands on its own, so the girls want to join because, and then
They
they're
make the program.
strengthened, and they, it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
It's like, let's keep going strong.
Yeah, they really are. They're the reason I'm here, the reason my team is here every day, the reason why we're talking right now.
Exactly.
We just want a world where girls can develop their voice, hear their voice, and take action.
And actually, just recently, we have 4 elementary schools here in Burlington, and they all have like little systems for kids to learn how to be nice to each other. Like my kids go to Pine Glen School, and their mascot is the owl, so they learn how to make wise choices. So it's like working together, learn to be kind. They've memorized it, but one of the other schools, Francis Wyman, they have SOAR, because SOAR is representing their falcon, which is their mascot. And they had an assembly to talk about being kind, acts of kindness, so SOA for acts of kindness, and I forget what O is, outstanding confidence or something. And they invited me to come and speak about the scouting program because it parallels what they're trying to teach the kids. So we actually, I had a little presentation and I talked about how, yes, we do things like working for the food pantry, but we also help save the turtles, and we also go into the community and we do caroling at the local, assisted living facilities, and we also have fun too, so.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
That's so cool. Well, I think you're hitting on a point where Girl Scout values are universal and they can adapt to what we are doing is something that can touch different lives and different families, and we really just want to get the word out there and make sure that we are communicating in a way that that families understand how our values align with their values.
Right.
And that's a perfect example of how that organization, that school, wanted you to talk about it, because what we're doing,
not reinventing the wheel.
It complements what they're doing. And if you think about why it's important, as we're supplementing education, what they're getting in school is really important, but the skills that they're learning through Girl Scouts is going to make them a more successful student.
Exactly.
Because they're going to be able to raise their hand, and they're going to be able to confidently ask the question and engage in the classroom in a way that's helping them be successful in that moment, but then being helpful them being successful later on in life.
Exactly. Speaking of raising their hand in class, I'm just thinking, I wasn't a Girl Scout when I was growing up, and I was never able to raise my hand in class. I was always too afraid. And now you can't shut me up. So, hey.
Well, it's a benefit because you have this wonderful show.
What's also really cool about, the scouting program is Girl Scouts, not only is a girl in Burlington part of Eastern Mass Council or part of Girl Scouts of the United States, there are Girl Scouts and Girl Guides in over 150 countries worldwide. So they have something in common with girls their age around the world, which is also a pretty amazing fact as well.
Part of a global community. And global sisterhood. And for me, in my role being new, I want to ensure that we're having the best quality programming, that we're having increase our access for everyone that wants it, but also how are we connecting with our global sisters, and how are we connecting in a way that is helping our Girl Scouts here learn about differences, embrace differences, and also know that they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Which brings us to Thinking Day, too.
Yes.
When you're talking about, knowing something's bigger. And so Thinking Day is February 22nd, which is the birthday of Robert Baden-Powell, who is the founder of the Boy Scout program in the United Kingdom, or in England. And Olive, his wife, also had the birthday of February 22nd as well. And she played a key role in establishing the Girl Guides. So every year, you can talk about this too if you want.
No, I think you know a little bit more than World Thinking Day than I do. I know I'm doing some fun stuff with it, but you're on.
Girl Scouts recognize this Thinking Day or Founders Day as a way to connect with girls around the world. And every year they have like a different theme. And this year's theme, I think, is very important, especially in today's culture and environment, is diversity, equity, or diversity, equality, and inclusion.
DEI, yep, diversity, equity, inclusion, yes.
Okay,
Equality,
I'm like, there's an I.
Yep.
So I think that's really important too, because the girls realize, hey, let's level the playing field, and I'm going to meet you, and I'm going to, bring you to my level, and I'm going to bring you up. And I think it's really important that they do recognize that it is global.
It is, and I would, at GSEMA, we actually just did some workshops with our staff where we were talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, how important that is, diversity, recognizing and appreciating differences, equity, how do we have an equal playing field, and inclusion, how does everyone feel like that they are included.
Right.
So it is important for girls and adults to be thinking about that, and I am delighted that that's the theme for this year. And the power of we can get all of our Girl Scouts and troop leaders and service units and staff thinking about that.
Exactly.
You think about the real lasting change that we can have when we get all those minds thinking and talking about it.
The generation that's currently Girl Scouts are the ones that are really going to make the difference. So.
And I also see it's a way, though, for troop leaders and service units. You think of all because we have 15,500 adults that are part of our organization.
Is that all?
I know. And
only 15,000.
It is lifelong learning. So if we can all think about that, because we can all grow in that area. So I also think what's pretty cool about our programming is, yes, the girls are experiencing it, but our troop leaders might be experiencing a topic that they don't know about, and they're also learning. And that's why I would invite everyone on Thinking Day to think about that topic and how we could all be doing a little bit more with it.
So
yeah, so exciting.
I'm really excited about it. Because just on a more personal note, what we're doing here in Burlington this year is we're kind of combining a Scout Shabbat with an interfaith service to address Thinking Day with the diversity. Okay, Girl Scouts and Girl Guides is a worldwide organization. We have that little blue and gold pin on our uniform. What exactly does that mean? It means that there are, there's a diverse, not arrangement, but there's a diverse audience that are Girl Scouts and Girl Guides. Equity, we're all on the same playing field. Nobody is better than the other person, so let's kind of keep everything and keep our relationships open and learn from each other and learn that we all have something to offer, but we all have something to learn as well.
Yep.
And then inclusion is, hey, let's have everybody. Let's not have all of these silos of religions. Let's include everybody. Our theme is, on my honor, I will try to serve God. Well, what exactly does that mean? How do I serve God? And if I'm Jewish, how do I serve God? If I'm a Christian, how do I serve God? If I'm Muslim, how do I serve God? And what exactly does that mean? So that's kind of what I'm hoping to accomplish in this interfaith service is, hey, we are one giant worldwide organization. We are all humankind. Let's get along. Let's figure out a way to get along.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's start at least talking. And I would, with the
sorry, that was a shameless plug.
No, it's great. I love what you're doing, and you're interweaving. And I would even take it a step further, because with the promise and law, you can even substitute the word God and not have the word God. And so how are we even looking at both the interfaith service and also welcoming everyone? And I am just, I love that you're being a leader in that space and bringing all those people together to talk about it, and then also relate it to, but also relate it to the overall mission, which is World's Girl, the Girl Guides, the WAGs, and how can we all understand our own perspectives, but then listen to others. Thank you for doing that and bringing the girls along and being a part of that.
So hopefully it'll work, but also, listen to others, but listen to understand, not listen to respond. Again, that's another Facebook meme that I've seen. It's like, okay, how many, and even if you're listening to someone else's story, they're not trying to rewrite your own story. You know, and you can learn something. You don't have to be exactly like them, but you would have a better understanding and a better appreciation. And I think kind of, you know, I know it sounds hokey, but I really think that that's what our society needs today is, hey, look, we're all on this planet together. Nobody's going anywhere. Let's have this work out.
And you're modeling it. And again, it's an opportunity for girls to learn at a young age, but you're also inviting adults into that conversation.
Right. And hopefully it'll be an annual event.
Well, I want to hear all about it.
Okay.
I get to see you at
I'll
all the
send you
volunteer
the flyers,
events, so you can tell me how it goes.
Okay. I'm just looking at some of this other all-girl space. Alumni.
Yes, we have over 50
statistics.
million alumni. Isn't that crazy? Yes.
I don't even think I could count that high.
And so any alumni out there, we'd love you to have part of some of the events that we do. We always appreciate our alumni. We always love to hear from our alumni because they are the ones that can tell us about their stories and how their life has been impacted. And that's good to hear because we're able to see the end results of what it meant to be a Girl Scout.
Yay. 100%. You mentioned this earlier.
Yes.
All the female U.S. Secretaries of State. 72% of female U.S. senators. Wow. No, I don't think I can tell you how many female U.S. senators we have, but 72% is a pretty good percentage of Girl Scouts.
Yes.
58% of female members of Congress. 90% of female U.S. astronauts.
Doesn't that blow your mind?
That
blows my mind.
Talking about STEM.
I know.
You know, you kind of have to be a rocket scientist or, you know, be really technically adept to go through that program. And recently I've seen a lot of news stories about how all-female crews and all-female spacewalk and all-female, you know, missions. It's like, wow, yes, we're finally, you know, breaking down that barrier.
It's that stat really, that really kind of blows my mind because it's just bold to think that, you know, that programming and the stat speaks for itself, that 90%, and it's like, well, how did they feel so empowered, and was that Girl Scouting a part of it, or was it not? But that stat just really kind of just blows my mind.
Well, even, you know, more of the empowering, it's, you know, building the confidence in the woman, but also breaking down those math is for boys at an early age, because you do need the math, you need the science, you need all the different STEM and STEAM background in order to be successful in some of those, you know, high-tech areas.
And that's why I'm so proud of our work, whether it's our Math Moves You conference. We're having a STEM conference coming up in Framingham State, and it's on Pi Day, so 3/14. And that is our programming. We're really putting our stake in the ground that, hey, we want to do STEM. We want to, you know, have a space where girls can dream about becoming an astronaut and just feel supported, or dream about being anything that they want to be. And it's why it's just an honor to be part of this organization that is doing that.
Well, I'm really glad you could come because we are out of time, believe it or not.
Thank you.
And you were afraid that we wouldn't have enough to talk about.
Thank you, Linda.
Well, no, you didn't. You weren't. But I have had some guests. So thank you so much for coming on. And I love getting to talk about stuff that I like. So I appreciate your joining me. And I also want to thank all of the viewers at home for tuning in this evening. And I hope you, next time you see a Girl Scout selling cookies, at least say hi to her and feel free to take advantage of supporting the largest girl entrepreneurial
Girl-led entrepreneur program
in the world. So thank you very much. Have a great night, and I'll see you around town. Thanks.